Hello, everyone, and welcome to Myofascial Release. I am just gonna mute everyone here. Perfect. So my name is Adrian, if we haven't met, and if you're watching this later on YouTube, thank you kindly. And if you're coming live, I appreciate that as well. Today we're gonna do a little bit of upper body, neck and shoulders, a little bit of below the knee, as well as calves and shins. So let's get started. We're gonna warm up on our roller, just warming up your chest and shoulders. So you want your head, tailbone, hands, aligned. So lying face up. Tailbone, shoulders and head on the roller, palms face up. You're going to slowly work your way up and down. Again, just easing into our chest and shoulders, opening up all this musculature, especially if you've been working at a desk or if you've been just stuck at a computer or hunched over. This is good just to open up, just loosen up here. We'll take about 30 seconds to a minute. Opening up here. All right, from here we're gonna warm up our back. So we're gonna take the roller, turn it sideways. We're gonna cross our arms, either across our chest, or we can hold our head up like this, that's fine too. We're gonna turn the roller sideways, get to the middle of our back. Picking up any restrictions. So here, hugging ourselves, just working through any kind of tension right along the back. You can also support your own head if you want. If you find your neck has a hard time holding your head up, just right along the middle of the back and slowly working back to the top of our shoulder blades. You're just getting the broad surface area of the back. So warming up any tightness, any restriction. You can also do a modified crunch here. You plant your hips into the ground. You do an extension. You slowly jump crunch forward. This you can almost target vertebrae by vertebrae. You can move it inch up or an inch down. Just work through any kind of tissue, whatever you got going on. So a couple more seconds here, just either rolling up and down, or you can go for gentle crunches and extensions to target specific parts of your back. Again, do whatever feels good for you. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to do a not so pleasant one. We're going to do a relax because back was requested today. And shoulders. So here, we're going to extend one arm above our head, or we can simply put a hand behind your head. But as long as the elbow remains high and the elbow above the head. From here, whichever arm is up, you're going to lean your body 45 degrees towards that side. And then try not to hold your breath. We're going to roll up and down your lat, really digging along all that tissue. So again, this might be pretty rough. If you find it very difficult, you can plant your hips down to just simply rest and gently move your hip just an inch up or an inch down at a time, just to get different parts of your lat. If you can roll your whole lat, great, but that may be pretty rough. So do your best. Again, whatever you got going on, make sure you're on an angle, so don't be directly face up. You want to be on a tilt. You want to be on about a 45-ish degree angle, just working all along that tissue on the back side. You don't want to be in the center, you want to be off on one side, working all this flatness right along here. Maybe 5 more seconds, and then we're going to switch sides. But again, the lat generally feels unpleasant. Do your best to just power and breathe through it. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and switch sides. So I'm just going to actually turn the other way, but you can just roll over to onto your other side. So here, either have your arm fully extended above, or just put your hand behind your head, but keep your elbow high. Either one's fine. So like this is good, or you can have the arm fully extended. That's fine too. Whatever works for you. So it's pretty rough for me too. So again, it's not zero not pleasant for anyone, even if you roll it frequently. So that's a bit of a toughie. I need 10 more seconds here. 10, 9, and 3, 2, one, and easing up. All right, that was a pretty rough one. So here, sticking with our back, we're gonna switch to a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball or a hockey ball, whatever you have at home. Even a golf ball is fine too. What do we got? Then we're gonna target our middle back. So this one you can do standing, you can do lying down, or lying face up. I'll show you. So here, taking the ball, we're gonna place it right between our spine and our shoulder blades, so right about here. And you can either cross your arms and go against the wall and roll up and down, or you can do it from the floor. I'll be doing it from the floor, but you can choose either variation is A-okay. The only difference is on the wall, you have a little more control of where it goes, but on the floor, you can press in a little more and dig a little deeper with the ball. So different benefits. So I'll be doing it from the floor, but you can choose whatever variation works best for you. It may take some placement. There we go. And so whichever side you're targeting, you want to bring that arm across your body, tuck the ball in between your spine and your shoulder blade. So for me, I prefer doing this one on the floor. I find I like to target a spot and just sit there for 15 or 20 seconds and then move to a different spot. But if you like to move around a lot, you can use the wall and just squat up and down to roll. That's fine too. Whatever works for you. So for me, I'm going to press and hold. But if you want to roll around or move around a lot, that's fine too. About 20 more seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and just switch sides. So here it can be as easy as just simply moving yourself over on your mat or on the wall. Either one's fine. But here, make sure you hug that arm across your chest, and you want to dig the ball right between your spine and your shoulder. Got about 20 more seconds, so feel free to adjust to a different spot, or just keep holding it, or if you're on the wall, roll it up and down. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we do a little bit of rotator cuff. So this one, we're gonna do a little bit of landmarking. We're gonna stick our elbow out 90 degrees. We're gonna take our fingertips. We're gonna feel the top of our shoulder, then bring our fingertips to the very back of our shoulder, right where your arm ends and your torso begins. If you're not sure what that means, just take your fingertips, feel for where you can actually physically dig your fingertips, your middle or your index finger, right into your shoulder joint. It should feel like where your back shoulder ends and your shoulder blade begins. You're in that little groove. You're gonna place the ball right there, and you're slowly gonna rotate up and down like this. So again, the rotator cuff starts behind above the shoulder blade, it crosses into your arm bone. So we're just going right at that junction, then rotating through to massage all those muscles that help rotate our arm bone. One thing to note is make sure you're not too low. If it feels like you're behind your armpit, or feels like you're pushing your armpit up, maybe a bit too low, I'm gonna find a sweet spot that's behind the shoulder, but not so low that it's behind your armpit. You're gonna be right behind the shoulder. So 10 more seconds on this side, and we switch. And switching sides. Get elbow nice and wide, right behind the shoulder joint. Take your fingertips, feel for the natural groove right where your shoulder ends and your torso begins. And rotate up and down. One thing to be mindful of as well is avoid having an arm extended straight. If you straighten your arm, it makes it a lot easier. Actually, your arm bent at 90 degrees as best you can. So don't straighten the arm. It can be tempting just to get that extra range of motion. I really want you to be honest with your range of motion and work through it with your arm, with your elbow bent at 90 degrees. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Easing off. Now we're going to do the upper traps. So from here, we're going to push our whole upper trap up. If you're not sure where that is, I want you to find your collarbone. Once you've found your collarbone, you'll reach that big chunk of upper neck that's right behind it. You should actually physically pinch it, almost with a claw hand. And you're going to slowly drive that arm up, gently reaching above the head as best you can. You don't have to touch the floor. Go as low as possible. If you can touch the floor, great. But if you can't, that's okay. Slowly work that range of motion, gentle waves. Once you get used to that, or if that feels like it's not challenging you enough, you can feel free to move side to side, make gentle waves. You can draw circles, draw half moons. You can spell your name, whatever works for you. Just gentle motions. Feel free to find the spots that are most troublesome. Just gently move that arm above the head, below the head, whatever feels good, or bad, alternatively, and just work through the bad stuff. That's fine too. About 20 more seconds here, just really easing into it. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and switching sides. And notice if one side's a lot worse than the other. It's normal if one side's quite a bit more restricted. Again, very few people are perfectly symmetrical. Good. About 50 more seconds, just really working through any kind of range of motion. and 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Here, easing off, we're going to do a little bit of the lower body. Then go to the back shoulders, rotator cuff. We're going to switch back to the roller. We're going to do a personal favorite, the shins. Always a good time. So from here, our position is a little funny. We want to start with the roller just below our kneecaps, just below our knees, and we want to cross our shin bones. So we cross our calves, and then lean towards whichever side is on the bottom. So I'll demonstrate if that doesn't make any sense. So here, above the roller, cross the legs. So for me, my left calf is on the bottom. I'm going to tilt my hips 45 degrees like so. I'm going to work back and forth. It's almost like a knee tuck crunch. And slowly working through. Now, it can be tempting to just quickly like roll back and forth at a very fast speed. Don't. Try to take it nice and slow, ease into it if possible. It may also be tempting to curl the toes and really flex your feet as hard as possible. Try to relax them as well. I know that sounds a lot easier than it actually is. Try to relax the feet, relax the hands. You may be making a face during this. Try to relax the face as well. Do your best. This is also like the lats, an unpleasant one, but it's structurally important, so we do want to work through. So 20 more seconds on this side. Just really working through any kind of tension. Slowly digging in. And if you want to just simply hang on a particular spot, that's fine too. You may find that you're worse like right below the kneecap. You may find you're worse closer to the bottom of your shin. Everyone's different. Find what works for you and then work through that as best you can. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and switch sides. And this muscle also gets activated if you like to do snowshoeing or hiking. Anything that has to lift the toe towards the knee, this is what that muscle does. So again, I'm leaning towards the camera now. My hips are at a 45-degree angle. Just working through any kind of tension right along my calf. Sorry, my shin. If you want to press and hold in a particular spot, that's fine too. If you find this really all too much, that's normal. What you can do, you can hold a modified plank like this and just use the weight of a single leg back and forth. That's fine. Again, whatever works the best for you. Everyone's different. Maybe 10 more seconds here. 3, 2, 1. Here we did the front of the shins, now we're going to do the back of the calves. So here, I want you to have a seat. Put your calves on top of the roller. We have a few options here. You can either just rest them like this, use your own body weight, and just roll back and forth. This feels too easy or too light. You can also stand up, put your weight on your wrists, lift your hips up, roll back and forth. That's fine too. If that's still too easy, you can even cross your legs, put all the weight on one side, and roll back and forth. There's another option. If you find your wrists just don't agree with lifting yourself up, that's fine. You can't just cross your legs and just use your other hamstring to press down on your bottom leg. So you can also simply use this top leg to pull and press down and massage into the bottom leg. That's fine. So you have a few options. You can lift yourself up like so. If that's not happening, again, use the weight of your top leg, press down and massage into the calf. So for me, I have pretty tight calves, so I'm actually going to do the modified version, because this is pretty rough on me. But you do whatever version works for you. So for me, even just resting with my body weight on my calf, especially if I rotate my foot, if you rotate your toe towards the outside of your body, that gets a little more of your soleus, which is your jumping muscle. For me, that's pretty brutal. So for me, even just resting my leg like this with no weight on top is painful. But everyone's different, so find what works for you. So yeah, if you want to get more of your walking muscle, your gastroc, keep your feet neutral. If you want to get a little more of your jumping muscle or your sprinting muscle, like more your soleus, you can rotate your feet towards the outside. You'll always get a bit of both because they're sandwiched on top of each other. If you want to target a little more of the jumping muscle, rotate your toe towards the outside. And so if you're doing one leg at a time, switch legs. If you're doing both, keep doing both. So yeah, so for me, even just resting it is rough. So you find what works for you. There's no shame in taking a modified version of any rolling exercise. Good, about 20 more seconds here. Just really dig into the side. If you've been doing both the whole time, keep doing both. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, here, we're not going to neglect the bottom part of our legs, just our feet. So here, if you have a tennis ball or the lacrosse ball, grab it down, we're going to roll the bottom of our feet. You can actually also do this with a roller, but make sure you have a really sturdy one. With a roller, you just simply put your foot on the edge, you roll right along the arch, but I prefer the ball. It's a little more targeted. So for me, I'm just going to bring the ball over here. Start underneath your big toe. You want to angle your foot. There we go. So that your arch is a little down, and then your pinky toe is up. You're going to roll right along the arch of your foot. It's best to have a squishy ball. So I have a lacrosse ball that has a little bit of give, but a tennis ball is good. If you have like a squishy plastic ball, that's fine. If you like it really intense, you can also use like a golf ball. Those are pretty rough though. That's basically like a stone. So be careful with those if you have it. Because there is such a thing as too much rolling or too aggressive rolling. You can end up with bruises. So don't go. More is not always better. So okay, work with whatever your limit is. Maybe 10 more seconds on this side. And here now we're going to the center of the foot. So here between the balls of the feet, plant your heel and roll right along. And then as you're rolling back, you almost want to do a dragging motion. So here, I'm going to press down and through, like you're trying to get gum off your shoe. Try to drag the foot along the floor like that. Or if you're like moonwalking, I guess. But either one, I want to drag that foot, keep it flat and drag it along the ball. So working through all that tension here. Need 10 more seconds here. And switching sides. So here, there's another ball of the foot, right along the arch. You can help to also angle your foot so your arch is a little further down. Your pinky toe actually points up on an angle. Join right along the arch. Make sure you've switched feet if you haven't already. Again, maybe 20, 30 seconds here. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now the middle of the foot. You know what? 45 seconds here. Right along the middle of your foot. And as you go back, I mentioned dragging it along the floor. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So from here, we're going to take the roller. We're going to go from the anatomy above. We're going to do our quads. This one's a nice and easy one. This one you're going to sink into. We're going to be here for about 2 minutes. So starting just above the knee. Just working through any kind of tightness right along here. After this, we're going to do a quick, just series of neck stretches. We'll be done. Just slowly digging through the quads. If you want, you can change the angle a bit. You can turn your feet out 45 degrees. You can turn your feet in 45 degrees. Everyone's different. Find what works for you. And 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. From here, just do a couple of quick neck stretches. We'll be done. So, one arm behind the back. Whichever arm is behind your back, I want you to take your head and tilt it in the opposite direction. So my left hand is behind my back, my head tilts to the right. My goals are trying to drop my left shoulder as much as I can and keep tilting my head to the right. If you want to enhance the stretch, you can very gently take your fingertips, place them on top of your head and just kind of use the weight of your hand to pull just a bit. You never want to yank your neck. You want to be really gentle with it. You can simply add to it. The hand is optional. You can also just leave it like this. Try to actively just depress the shoulder, keep your head tilted. About 10 seconds here, 10. And other side, so one arm behind the back, and to the left. Try to actively drop that shoulder and keep tilting your head. If you want to gently add a little stretch on top, you can. You can also just keep it static. 15 seconds here. Three, two, one. Slowly coming to center. Now we're going to put both hands behind our back. This always looks a little funny, but luckily I'm the only one being recorded. So both hands behind the back. I want you to point your chin to the sky and almost make like a really big smiley face and kind of move your smile around. Feel free to make like chewing motions. It seems ridiculous, but we're going to stretch all the fascia in the front of the neck. You don't think with this area too much, but this area does get compressed when we're texting, when we're kind of putting our chin down, or if we're kind of napping with our head kind of tilted forward. All the tissue here does get tight. So to keep pointing that chin to the sky, we're going to make like a chewing motion or like a big smiling motion. Maybe 10 more seconds. 10, 9, and 3, 2, and 1. Easing off. All right. So I'm going to pause the recording here. But thank you all who came live to the class, and thank you all who are watching us later on YouTube. I really appreciate it.